With Christina's eyes freshly primed, we started with a warm transitional shade to create a soft gradient effect from the brighter highlight shades to the deeper crease colors. We used Too Faced Salted Caramel from the Chocolate Bar palette on an Inglot 6 SS brush, depositing the majority of the product in the outer half of the crease and sweeping back and forth softly with windshield wiper motions to create a gentle fade towards the inner eye. Next, we used white chocolate from the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette along the brow bone to add a pop of dimension to the highlight area and to create a more polished look. We used the rounded bristles of a MAC 239 eye shader brush to gently avoid getting eyeshadow on the brow hairs. To deepen the crease, we used Semi-Sweet from the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette on the same Inglot 6 SS brush from Step 1. By going about half as far towards the nose and about a third as high to the brow as we did in Step 1, we are able to continue the soft gradient effect. Using an Inglot 80 HP smudger brush, we applied Too Faced Hazelnut eyeshadow from the Chocolate Bar palette. This shimmery, coffee-colored shade creates lift to the eye when applied in a vaguely triangular shape to the outer third of the eye, and creates a touch of depth when applied gently to the inner third. This shade will act as a transitional shade between the pop of metallic champagne on the center of the lid and the much darker brown that'll be in the outermost edge later on. We'll be using our fluffy Inglot 6 SS brush to blend out any harsh lines that were created by the previous steps. Let's pay special attention to the points where the transitional shade meets the highlight and where the metallic coffee-colored eyeshadow meets in the center of the lid. This is great preparation for those harder to blend shades that we'll be using later on. We'll break out the trusty old Inglot 80 HP smudger brush again to apply Too Faced Triple Fudge eyeshadow from the Chocolate Bar palette in a soft V shape in the outer six of the eyelid. Follow the outer edge of your eyelid in your natural crease line for optimum lift to the eye. Since this shade is proving to be just a little bit more difficult to blend, let's go ahead and add a little bit more on a fluffy brush to diffuse the depth higher up into the crease. And it's back to blending. This time we'll use a much denser Inglot 28 PO shader brush to help us blend. Since we do want to keep depth, avoid blending in the areas that are meant to remain dark, only hitting the points where the darkness is meant to transition into lighter colors. Using our MAC 239 shader brush, we'll add a bright metallic champagne to the center of the lid. Since metallic shades can sometimes be a little bit difficult to blend into matte or satin eyeshadows, we'll be packing the majority of the color onto the center of the lid, and then we'll use the sparse remains that's left over on the bristles to fade the shadow out into the darker surrounding shades. Now make sure you use light sweeping motions around the edges to kind of blend as you go. Using a MAC 219 pencil brush and Too Faced Hazelnut eyeshadow from the Chocolate Bar palette, we'll add a little bit of shadow and depth to the under eye area. Again, we want to concentrate the majority of the depth to the outer third of the eye, so we'll start by depositing eyeshadow there and slowly sweeping it towards the inner corner of the eye, creating a soft gradient effect again from the outer corner to the inner corner of the eye. Using the same MAC 219 pencil brush and Too Faced Triple Fudge eyeshadow from the Chocolate Bar palette, we'll continue to create sexy, smoky depth in the outer corner of the under eye. We'll again deposit the majority of the product to the outer third, but this time we'll avoid blending it much further than that. We'll use our dense Inglot 28 PO shader brush to carefully blend these two shadows together, and we'll use a kind of downward, inward, diagonal motion to maintain a smooth, feathered effect between the two eyeshadows that are down there in the under eye area. It's time to break out the fun stuff. Using one of our own round brushes, we dip the bristles in the Lit Cosmetics Clearly Liquid Glitter Base, not enough to get it soaking wet, but just enough to get it damp. Then we dipped it into Champagne Wishes glitter, and then lightly dabbed it all over the center of the lid to get optimum color coverage and to avoid the risk of disturbing the eyeshadow underneath it. Champagne Wishes is easily one of the most versatile glitters because of its soft sparkle and neutral base color. Now, once the adhesive dries, which takes about 15 seconds or so, it'll be fallout and fade resistant all day. Using the Lit Cosmetics Clearly Liquid Glitter Base and a Lit Liner brush, run a small amount of glitter around the tear duct area of the eyes. Once most of the glitter is off the brush, use the remaining glitter base in the bristles of the brush to lightly blend the glitter into the rest of the eyeshadow look. This next step is entirely up to you, your preferences, and your skin type. Personally, I love Eve Pearl Salmon Concealer Treatment as a color corrector around the eyes before going in with foundation. This is a great way to kind of cancel out those grays or purples that might show up there and look a little bit bruisey. Now I start at the middle of the face and work my way outwards to make sure that everything blends perfectly. Becca's Lowlight Sculpting Perfector is my holy grail for contouring medium to light skin tones. I never contour with bronzer, as doing so would create weird, warm toned shadows on the face, whereas natural shadows, they tend to be a little bit more cooler toned. Also, be sure not to set the contour too low, or you may end up looking a little bit unnaturally saggy or even tired looking. Apply bronzer to the points of your face most likely to get sun, like your forehead, nose, cheeks, and chin. NARS Lagoon Bronzer does a great job of giving a sun-kissed glow without going all crazy orange. We can't be the only ones in love with the idea of highlighter, right? We used Becca Cosmetics Pressed Skin Perfector in Rose Gold to achieve a nice dewy look without actually being dewy. We used a large fluffy brush to place the highlighter at the tops of the cheekbones, the bridge of the nose, and the cupid's bow, which is right there above the lips. And then we gently swept it and buffed it away to keep a smooth, natural shine behind. Apply a nice rosy toned lip crayon to the lips. We used Bite Beauty Lip Crayon and Rhubarb sparingly around the outer edges of the lips, then slightly blended it onto the pout to get a semi-sheer effect. Try to match the undertones of your natural lip color to the undertones of your lipstick whenever you're reaching for a more natural look. Using chapstick or lip conditioner prior to application will make the shearing process a lot more pleasant, so keep those smoochers saturated. A nice currant toned lip liner can be great for adding a little bit of dimension to the lips. I like to go all the way around the lips, then fill a triangular shape on the outer edge of each side of the bottom lip to help create a little bit more of a pronounced pout. Choosing the right lip liner can be difficult, but it can be made easy by, again, matching the undertones to your natural lip color to the undertones of the liner, then going a few shades darker. You'll definitely want to make sure your lips are moisturized if you plan on using liner, as it makes blending much easier. Using a Lit Cosmetics round brush and a little bit of the Bite Beauty Lip Crayon and Rhubarb, we very carefully blended the liner into the lip look, and this creates a smooth gradient effect and a pronounced pout without it looking too fake. Be sure to blot afterwards to get a completely smooth transition. The next step is to apply falsies. Make sure that you apply these right along the natural lash line, and you can also apply mascara to your top and bottom lashes as desired. My final step is to apply just a quick spray of Model in a Bottle finishing spray in the sensitive skin formula. It smells great and it keeps your makeup on all day and all night.